The hands can now come together, as can the feet. Knee joints are also present. At 8 weeks, the brain is highly complex and constitutes almost half of the embryo's total body weight. Growth continues at an extraordinary rate. By 8 weeks, 75% of embryos exhibit right-hand dominance. The remainder is equally divided between left-handed dominance and no preference. This is the earliest evidence of right or left-handed behavior. Pediatric textbooks describe the ability to roll over as appearing 10 to 20 weeks after birth. However, this impressive coordination is displayed much earlier in the low-gravity environment of the fluid-filled amniotic sac. Only the lack of strength required to overcome the higher gravitational force outside the uterus prevents newborns from rolling over. The embryo is becoming more physically active during this time. Motions may be slow or rapid, single or repetitive, spontaneous or reflexive. Head rotation, neck extension, and hand-to-face contact occur more often. Touching the embryo elicits squinting, jaw movement, grasping motions, and toe pointing. Between 7 and 8 weeks, the upper and lower eyelids rapidly grow over the eyes and partially fuse together. Although there is no air in the uterus, the embryo displays intermittent breathing motions by 8 weeks. By this time, kidneys produce urine, which is released into the amniotic fluid. In male embryos, the developing testes begin to produce and release testosterone. The bones, joints, muscles, nerves, and blood vessels of the limbs closely resemble those in adults. By 8 weeks, the epidermis, or outer skin, becomes a multi-layered membrane, losing much of its transparency. Eyebrows grow as hair appears around the mouth. 8 weeks marks the end of the embryonic period. During this time, the human embryo has grown from a single cell into the nearly 1 billion cells, which form over 4,000 distinct anatomic structures. The embryo now possesses more than 90% of the structures found in adults. The fetal period continues until birth. By 9 weeks, thumb sucking begins, and the fetus can swallow amniotic fluid. The fetus can also grasp an object, move the head forward and back, open and close the jaw, move the tongue, sigh and stretch. Nerve receptors in the face, the palms of the hands, and the soles of the feet can sense light touch. In response to a light touch on the sole of the foot, the fetus will bend the hip and knee and may curl the toes. The eyelids are now completely closed. In the larynx, the appearance of vocal ligaments signals the onset of vocal cord development. In female fetuses, the uterus is identifiable and immature reproductive cells called oogonia are replicating within the ovary. External genitalia begin to distinguish themselves as either male or female. A burst of growth between 9 and 10 weeks increases body weight by over 75%. By 10 weeks, stimulation of the upper eyelid causes a downward rolling of the eye. The fetus yawns and often opens and closes the mouth. Most fetuses suck the right thumb. Sections of intestine within the umbilical cord are returning to the abdominal cavity. Ossification is underway in most bones. Fingernails and toenails begin to develop. Unique fingerprints appear 10 weeks after fertilization. These patterns can be used for identification throughout life. By 11 weeks, the nose and lips are completely formed. As with every other body part, their appearance will change at each stage of the human life cycle. The intestine starts to absorb glucose and water, swallowed by the fetus. Though sex is determined at fertilization, external genitalia can now be distinguished as male or female. Between 11 and 12 weeks, fetal weight increases nearly 60%. 12 weeks marks the end of the first third or trimester of pregnancy. Distinct taste buds now cover the inside of the mouth. By birth, taste buds will remain only on the tongue and roof of the mouth. Bowel movements begin as early as 12 weeks and continue for about 6 weeks. The material, first expelled from the fetal and newborn colon, is called meconium. It is composed of digestive enzymes, proteins, and dead cells shed by the digestive tract. By 12 weeks, upper limb length has nearly reached its final proportion to body size. The lower limbs take longer to attain their ultimate proportions. With the exception of the back and the top of the head, the body of the entire fetus now responds to light touch. Sex-dependent developmental differences appear for the first time. For instance, female fetuses exhibit jaw movement more frequently than males.